welcome back to the class, everyone. We recently discussed what were the 10 most important leadership zetas, so today it's time to give a crack at the uniques. Very similar to the leadership zetas, we're going to be looking for zetas that just completely revolutionize this team that are not really debatable. If you have the character, if you have the team, they have to be applied immediately so the team can actually function and not just counter a few things, but counter everything that it is supposed to reach. So we're going to be starting out with Piett, and I'm just starting to feel like a broken record when it comes to this, because I am just obsessed not only with Piett and his zetas, but also with the Imperial Trooper team at large. And the whole reason it can do everything it does is because of this Emperor Trap Zeta. So not necessarily the Zealous Commander one. The Zealous Commander one is okay-ish. It's arguably luxury. But Emperor's Trap, why is this such a big deal? So not only does he give him and Vader some, pretty nice stats of potency and accuracy and stuff like that, but he's giving 6% offense and potency for every stack of this that he has in battle. And you get at this every single time that you attack at a turn, or you actually get the turn. So you can get huge stacks of this, like 20, 30, 40, 50, depending on what you're going against, and if you're able to also link kills so you can gain turn meter that way. And this is what put troopers on the map. I realize there's a lot of big talk around Dark Trooper. Dark Trooper wouldn't be able to really do anything without this. I remember when Lord Vader first came out, that a lot of people shifted Piett to that team, and they tried to use troopers with Veers, Stark, Gideon, Dark, and whoever else, try to take out teams, and he really struggled. Like, it went from being like a Darth Revan counter all the way back to being an old Nightsister counter, just because of how influential this is. So, really good unique Zeta. Arguably the best one in the entire game. Next up is going to be a super crucial one we have with Old Daka. This is really what makes the Nightsisters work. A lot of the other Zetas are pretty good and arguably necessary, but this one has to take the cake. Without this, she is not going to be gaining 10% max health every single time another ally is revived. So what ends up happening typically in battles, regardless if it's under SLKR or if it's under her Nightsister team, is all the allies will start to die, and she will get thicker and thicker and thicker and thicker. And eventually, if you don't have max health damage, you just can't kill her, and she keeps reviving everyone. And then you start to combine this with other elements of things the Nightsisters have, like plague and healing immunity, that just completely shuts the enemy team down. Asajj's Zeta is pretty good in regards to being able to stack the offense, but ultimately, if you can't survive, it doesn't matter how much offense or plague you put out. If you're dead, you're dead, which is why she is the most important to get that team to function, to be able to survive, be able to take out those General Grievous or anything of the like. Next up, we have our good friend General Grievous. This one, I mean, it's always good. It completely changes the service of the team, but it's more influential in the very beginning of the game and even mid-game, and that is Metalloid Monstrosity. Whenever a droid or separatist ally is defeated, Grievous dispels all debuffs on himself, resets all ability cooldowns, and gains 1 bonus turn. So, Grievous is capable of doing a whole lot of damage. He can struggle to get turns if you control his team really well. However, if you do have to start going and killing his allies, there's really no way to hold this back, I guess, other than Captive and Fracture. You can't stun him, you can't daze him, you can't really lock him down with ability block or anything like that. He's going to get the bonus turn. He's going to get rid of whatever debuff you add on him. And he's going to use his big AoE. And if you have any fragile characters just sitting out there, even, like we've talked about this before, a Relic 1 General Grievous will just slaughter the whole team because of the amount of damage he's doing from stacking his health and converting that to his damage, as well as he has really good crit damage from his Relic modifier. So really good Zeta. I'm not sure if it's quite as influential as the Daka or Piett one, but it's going to change a lot of counters that would otherwise kind of be able to dance around, just kill all his allies and then kill him for last. Next up is going to be Ahsoka. This one probably doesn't get as much recognition as it should. Ahsoka's really good with Padme. She's good with Qui-Gon Jinn as well as JMK. So definitely really versatile when it comes to the amount of team she's in. And the Daring Padawan Zeta, the leader is Galactic Republic, which all three of those teams we just talked about are. Ahsoka's called to assist whenever another Galactic Republic ally uses a special ability. That is constantly when you start to look at what those teams do. And typically when a character assists out of turn, it's not all, or they assist in general, it's not that big of a deal until we look at her basic, and it's pretty nuts. Deal physical damage to target enemy and dispel all buffs on them. And on a critical hit, dispel debuffs on Ahsoka and another random Galactic Republic ally. This attack can't be evaded if the target has foresight, and then if another 501st ally is present, she also recovers 15% health. So every single time anyone on your team uses a special, not only are you getting a nice assist to dispel, but you're also getting a cleanse. So all the taunts out there, if they're not consistent with the fact that they're always coming back because maybe Nightsister has purge or something like that, this is just going to completely shut taunts down. Everyone has those massive offensive buffs. The fact that it goes through foresight is also really nice, because not only do you get to hit them, but you're going to dispel the foresight so that another character gets to come on top. Particularly helpful against characters like BB-8, who get foresight every other turn, and you just keep ripping it off and dealing damage and taking them down. So again, very versatile character, and adds a lot to all those teams. The cleanse, the dispel, the damage, being able to target who you want, when you want, because they're never going to be taunting, is very nice. Next up is going to be Mando. He's become crucial to the new, I say new, it's been a few years now, bounty hunter team, because he is the one behind the whole turn meter train. If we look at his unique, oh, that's this wrong unique. This unique here, each time the Mandalorian scores a critical hit, other bounty hunter allies gain half the amount of bonus turn meter. So if you're familiar with how bounty hunters work, more often than not, you have Beskar and Grievous in the team. Whether or not they're in the leadership, it doesn't really matter. But you're going to go in, you're going to call those first 2 mass assists with both of them, and you're going to be generating 15% turn meter to every single member on the team twice. So if you just get Beskar and Grievous up to a decent amount of speed, let's say 350, and then you throw, not 350, 300, and you throw Zam, and it becomes like something 370, something ridiculous like that, and then your whole team is going to function as if they were 370, even though my Mando is only something like 263. He himself is not that fast, but every single time he's being called to assist, not only is he gaining turn meter, but he's also giving the rest of the team turn meter, to the point where you can have contract immediately unlocked by the time he gets his first turn, and then he can just go and disintegrate someone right off the bat before they even move. This is how you're going to be able to take out Bam or Dash or anyone else like that is really crucial before they can even get a turn, because of that turn meter gain. So very important for bounty hunters, definitely when you're building up that team. Nute is probably the sleeper on this list, if anyone. There's a few that are really obvious, particularly the next one. But Viceroy's Reach here. Whenever a Separatist ally inflicts a debuff, they also deal 5% max health damage to that enemy, which can't be evaded. This, you know, at an eye's glance, isn't really that big of a deal. You know, a little bit of max health damage, I guess that's important. That actually is pretty nice to be able to take Daka down. Because we previously mentioned that, or really any character that has stacking max health like Nihilus, because when you deal max health damage, you just completely ignore however large their pool is. You're just going to do a percentage of it. That being said, this has a really nice ability that not a lot of people realize when you pair it with General Grievous's lead, where, and I think we even talked about this last time we were in here, but if we look up General Grievous's lead, what does it do? Whenever you hit an enemy that is target locked, or rather whenever they take damage and they're target locked, you gain 2% turn meter. So not only when B1 or B2 go and hit that target locked character, they're dealing damage from the attack, but if they're dealing a debuff as well, and then taking 5% max health damage, you're getting double the amount of turn meter. This is the reason why Grievous can go and challenge teams like Starkiller or JML or C, because you make a turn meter train that can almost loop around the entire team, and then you start to get really high damage, you start to get kills, and all of that is really only possible with the help of this unique. I mean, the other option is BB-8, who's not really as good as the Galactic Legend variants, but being able to have that extra turn meter is very nice. Not to mention, Nute also gets an extra life, so that's good for Grievous in general. I feel a little bit dumb mentioning this one, because Commander Ahsoka Tano is one of the best characters in the game. It almost seems unfair to put her here because she's around the level of a Galactic Legend. But I've always been just surprised by the lengths that CG went to with this last ability. We've had characters who've given stat boosts before, but before Cat, they were just embarrassingly low. Like, the difference here is stark. If you look at a character like R2, who I believe was spreading are giving like 5% boosts for all those stats, Cat just comes in and straight up 50 with the Zeta, 50% offense, critical damage, health, and defense with all light side allies. And there's an important distinction here. She's not steering her stats. She's giving whatever character is out there their stat with 50%. So your GK, his health isn't being based, or his bonus health isn't being based off Ahsoka. It's based on his own. Or your JMK, his 50% offense and crit damage boost isn't coming from her stats. It's coming from his own Galactic Legend stats. And so it's just, I feel like this was overkill. She could have been so good, even if this was something like 25, 30%, but they went all the way up to 50, which just makes this team bonkers. It's one of the reasons why if you put her into a CLS team, Han can actually shoot and kill the enemy first order Hux in one shot, because there's just that much offense coming out. 50% is a huge amount. So yeah, Cat definitely makes the list. It was definitely worth mentioning. And then we have Malak. Malak really just kind of falls apart as a character without either of his Zetas. He needs both. At the end of each turn, enemies who inflict damage over time on Darth Malak or critically hit him this turn are inflicted with fear for one turn, which can't be resisted or evaded. So Malak essentially has no way to fear any enemy ever if he does not have this. The rest would be through Darth Revan or Bas-Lashan or even Malgus, I guess, now. So that makes him such a threat, because you never really want to hit Malak, because you know you're going to have to deal with all this now. If he can't actually fear you, then he's just not that big of a threat. Not to mention, that's also how he keeps taunting, is by that his fear keep coming out. And then as well, he gets his bonus turns here whenever he hits his health thresholds that are listed here. That's really nice. That's how you stop him. If he doesn't have these, you can really just focus him down and kill him, and you'll never have to worry about him coming back and biting you in the butt with all of this, because he's just so easy to control, because he's not constantly fearing you, and he's also not getting any bonus turns to interrupt what you're trying to do against him. So Malak definitely needs both of his, worth saying. Next up is going to be Echo. This, similar to Piett, is what is going to allow the entire team, Bad Batch, to handle teams before they get into relics. So if we look at the Zeta here, whenever a Bad Batch ally inflicts a debuff on an enemy, the enemy loses 8% protection. That enemy had less than 50% protection, more than 50% health, they lose 8% health. So it's just a bunch of max health damage, actually somewhat similar to Nute's as well. And what this means is your damage on your entire Bad Batch team can be pretty much garbage, and eventually you'll whittle down the team, because you're not dealing damage based on anything you have, but you're dealing damage based on their max health and their max protection, and eventually they just run out of it. And when you combine this with the irresistible healing immunity, even the strongest of characters eventually go down really quickly. Even the ones that are immune, or not immune, but take reduced damage against max health, stuff like Crew. I remember when we had our Gear 11 Bad Batch, we were able to take out Relic First Order teams, not SLKR variants, but Relic First Order teams, because they just have all the tools they have, or they need, when you start to apply all the Zetas. So Bad Batch Echo is definitely the most important one for their team to get things going. Next, and last, and probably not least, I guess, is going to be Beskar Armor Mando. So I realized that he has a lot of uses for most players for a long time, especially with his lead. As my position, Beskar Armor Mando does one thing and one thing alone, and he serves as a damage immunity for the Fennec team against Lord Vader and Maul when Maul goes to unleash all 5 of his hits, and that all goes away if he loses this unique Zeta. The first time each Scoundrel ally falls below 75% health, which is a good margin, this character dispels all debuffs on himself, gains 1 stack of Listen Burst, and the cooldown of Wonder of the Force is reset. So basically, to give you a rundown of what happens here, you're going up against a Lord Vader and Maul team. Lord Vader is obviously going to go first because he has like 600 speed or something stupid. He triggers Maul. Maul gets to go. Maul's going to start to unleash all 5 of his hits, and he's going to kill someone. He's going to kill Fennec. He's going to kill Bosk. He's going to kill Mando. He's going to kill someone in those 5 hits. But if he reduces someone to 75% or lower than 75% health, Bam procs, because of his Zeta, that's the whole purpose of it, he sticks damage immunity on that character, really Fennec or whatever character he needs to. Maul can't do crap against it now because they have damage immunity, and then you get to go and just run the whole show. Your Mando goes in, you annihilate the Royal Guard, your Griff flips all the debuffs again, you hard target Maul, get rid of him, you kill everyone on the team, and all of a sudden you have a team, a non-Galactic Legend team beating the best version of one of the Galactic Legends out there. So, and without that Zeta, you don't get to do any of that. Without the Zeta, Maul just runs over and kills Fennec and Mando or whoever he pleases, because there's nothing to get in his way, nothing to stop him. So again, Bam can be used for other things. His ship is really nice. He's in the crate raid. He does all that stuff. But from a PvP perspective myself, that Zeta is what really brings all of his value. And it's great. He's a great character. That is going to be it for today. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what other unique Zetas you guys like a lot. Until the next time, stay awesome.